Hi guys, and welcome back to the Crochet Toy YouTube channel. In today's video I'm going to be sharing with you a new tutorial for an Animal Crossing character. So this Animal Crossing character is Hornsby, so here he is. So yeah, if you're interested in finding out how to crochet this, then keep watching. And just a shout out to the person that requested this pattern. So this is a request for Cottage Crossing. So I hope you enjoy this video and do send me a picture if you do end up making this. So yeah, let's get straight into what you'll be needing for this video. And as always, the written pattern is available on my blog for free, so you can have that open while you're watching this video, or you can just work off the written pattern. For this tutorial, you'll be needing aran yarn in the following colours: cream, red, blue, green, white, black and yellow. And you'll be needing felt in 4 colours, so white, black, pink and dark blue. Then you'll be needing stuffing. Obviously you'll need more than this, but this is just to illustrate. You'll be needing some stitch markers. I've just used some scrap pieces of yarn there. You'll be needing some scissors, your 4mm crochet hook or a different size if you've used a different weight of yarn, some Fabri-Tac fabric glue for gluing down the felt pieces, your yarn needle, and then you'll also be needing some embroidery pins if you want to kind of pin things together to help sew everything together. So yep, that's everything you'll be needing. So for this pattern we start off by making the jumper first, and we're going to start at the collar of the jumper, and we're going to be working in rows to begin with. So grab your green yarn and chain 3 to start with. So 1, 2, 3. And once you've done that, all you need to do is single crochet across. So you just need to single crochet into this chain and this chain, so that'll be 2 single crochets. So 1, 2, and then you just need to chain 1 and turn, and that is row 1 complete. So for row 2, all we're going to do is we're going to single crochet across, but in the back loop only. So this loop, so 1, 2, and then we're going to once again chain 1 and turn, and that is the end of row 2. So for rows 3 to 23, you're just going to repeat exactly what we did there for row 2. So single crochet across in the back loop only, chain 1 and turn. So I'll meet you when you get to the end of row 23. So I got to the end of row 23 and I've created this kind of tail, I suppose you could call it, and this is going to become the collar. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the end of this, so where we started at row 1, and we're just going to make sure that row 1 is now touching row 23, and then we're going to single crochet across to kind of incorporate these 2 rows together. So we're going to go into row 23 and also into row 1, and we're just going to do a single crochet like that, and then we're going to do the same thing again like that. And then all we're going to do is we're just going to turn that inside out so that this kind of bumpy bit is hidden on the inside. So there we have it. Now they are joined together, and now we're going to actually start working in rounds. So for round 1, we're just going to try and work 25 single crochets evenly all the way around. Now we ended up doing 24 rows, so that means that you're going to have to kind of slip an extra single crochet in somewhere. It's just 1 single crochet, it won't really matter where you put it, but yeah, just bear that in mind when you're kind of single crocheting around and trying to get that even look. So I'm just going to start doing that. So there's 1 single crochet, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and so on. So I'm just going to do that all the way around until I've done 25 single crochets. So I got to the end of the first round here, and I just went back and put a stitch marker in that first single crochet of the round just to kind of make it a bit easier for you to see where that actually is. So one thing I'm just going to do now is just snip this tail here, just because it's getting in the way and it's annoying me, so you could do the same thing if you want. So get rid of that. Okay, so now we are ready to start round 2. So for round 2, we're going to start off by doing 4 single crochets. So I'm just going to remove my stitch marker now. So I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I'm going to do an increase. And we're just going to repeat that 4 more times all the way around, and that will get us to 30 single crochets at the end of round 2. So I'll meet you when you get to that point. So now I've reached the end of round 2, so I've got 30 single crochets all the way around. And now for rounds 3 to 6, we're just going to single crochet all the way around, so that's quite straightforward, and I'll just meet you when you get to the end of round 6. I'm ready to start round 7 now, so I'm just going to remove my stitch marker, and all we're going to do is 5 single crochets. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we're going to do an increase. And we're going to repeat that 4 more times until we get to the end of the round, and that should bring us up to 35 single crochets at the end of round 7, so I'll meet you when you get to that point. So I got to the end of round 7, I've got my 35 single crochets all the way around, and now for rounds 8 to 10 we're just going to single crochet all the way around, so I'll meet you at the end of round 10. So I reached the end of round 10, and now we're actually going to start crocheting in rows again. So to start off with, we're just going to simply chain 2, so 1, 2, and then we're just going to single crochet into the second chain from hook, so 1 single crochet, and then we're going to slip stitch front loop only into the next single crochet. So that would be the first single crochet of round 10. So I'm just going to do a slip stitch into the front loop only, like so. And that is row 1. Then for row 2, we're going to slip stitch into the front loop only of the next single crochet. So like this. Then we're going to turn our work, so like this, and then what we're going to do is we're going to single crochet but in the back loop only of row 1, so effectively just this single crochet here, so back loop only, single crochet, and then we're going to chain 1 and we're going to turn our work again. Then for row 3 we're going to single crochet in the back loop only of the single crochet from row 2, so we're just going to single crochet in the back loop only of this one. And then once again we're going to slip stitch into the front loop only of the next single crochet from round 10, so this one. So then for rows 4 to 35 we're just going to repeat rows 2 to 3 in an alternating pattern, so do row 2 and then repeat row 3 and then 2 and then 3 and then so on until you get all the way around and you have completed row 35, so I'll meet you at that point. So I just got to the end of row 33 and I just wanted to show you once more row 34 and row 35 because I know this bit's a bit fiddly, so just showing you once more how I'm going to finish off these 2 rows. So I'm going to firstly slip stitch into the front loop only of the next single crochet within round 10. Then I'm going to turn my work, and then I'm going to single crochet into the back loop only of the single crochet from the previous row, and then I'm going to chain 1, turn, and then I'm going to single crochet in the back loop only of the single crochet from the previous row, and then I'm going to slip stitch into this front loop of the final single crochet from round 10. So now we have finished this all the way around. All we're going to do is we're going to find a nice stitch to slip stitch into to finish this off. So I'm just going to slip stitch here. You can just slip stitch wherever looks best for you, like this, and then I'm just going to cut the yarn. Don't worry about leaving any tail for sewing or anything, we're not going to be using this tail. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to try and hide this now, so I'm just going to pull this through here. I'm going to do some knots. then maybe one more, and then I'm just going to cut this. Just going to cut this now. And there you have it. So now we have, this is going to be the main part of the jumper. So now what we're going to do is we're going to move on to making the legs, and we're going to start off by reattaching some blue yarn. So grab your blue yarn and I will show you how to get started with this. So the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to turn your work this way round so that those rows that you just completed are at the top here. And what we need to do is we need to identify what is the first unworked back loop from round 10, because if you remember, we slip stitched into the front loop only, so there's going to be this unworked back loop for each of those single crochets all the way around, and there should be 35 of them. Now if you're struggling to identify where the first unworked loop is, then I would suggest just counting around to try and make sure that you have 35. So if we're going to say that this is the first unworked loop, then we're just going to count round to make sure that that gets us to 35 if we started off in this loop here. So I'm just going to go 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13 14 15 16 17 18 19 20. Oops, sorry, I hope you can see that. 21 22 23 24 25 26 27 28 29 30 31 32 33 34, and then 35 is this one here. You can't quite see it, so I'm happy that this is the right sort of stitch to start off working in. So I'm just going to turn my work like this, and I'm just going to put my hook into that unworked loop, and then I'm just going to grab my blue colour and then I'm going to attach this blue yarn in here. So I'm just going to do a chain, and there we go. So now our blue yarn is attached, and all we're going to do is single crochet all the way around in those unworked back loops from round 10. So 1 2 3 4 5, and just continue like this until you've done 35 single crochets. So at the end of the first round in our blue yarn, I've got my 35 single crochets all the way around, and for rounds 2 to 3 I'm just going to single crochet all the way around, so I'll meet you at the end of round 3. So for round 4 we're going to start doing some decreases. So we're going to firstly do 5 single crochets, so 1 2 3 4 5, and then we're going to decrease, and then we're going to repeat that pattern 4 more times all the way around, and that will get us down to 30 single crochets at the end of round 4. So I got to the end of round 4 and I've got my 30 single crochets. So now for round 5 we're going to do some more decreases, but in a slightly different pattern this time. So we're going to start off by doing a decrease in the first couple of single crochets here, and then we're going to do 11 single crochets. So 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11. Then we're going to do 2 decreases, so 1 2. Then we're going to do 11 single crochets again, so 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. Oop, that one doesn't want to go in. 8 9 10 11, and then we're going to finish off with another decrease. So at the end of round 5 we should now have 26 single crochets all the way around, and now what we're going to do is we're going to start mapping out the legs so that we can start crocheting the legs. So grab 4 stitch markers and I'll show you how to do this. So you're going to want to place your first stitch marker in single crochet number 5. So you're going to start off with the first single crochet from round 5, and you're going to count 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you're just going to put your first stitch marker in here. Then your second stitch marker, you're going to count back 10 single crochets including the marked stitch, and you're going to then put your second stitch marker in there. So you're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then this is 6, this one here's 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then just do the same thing. So that's going to be the first leg. So as you can see, what's going to happen is we're going to crochet in rounds like this to make a leg here, and then we're going to now mark the second leg. So for your third stitch marker, you're going to want to place that 4 single crochets after the first stitch marker that you placed. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you can count 10 single crochets after this marked stitch and including the marked stitch as well. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and I'm going to mark this stitch. And if you've followed all the steps correctly, then what you should end up with is 2 marked out legs like this that are going to be 10 single crochets all the way around, and then there should be a 3 single crochet gap between the legs on both the front and the back. So 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 2, 3. So if you've got your stitch markers in place, then all you need to do is grab your crochet hook, and then we're going to start round 1 of the first leg over here. So for round 1, we're going to single crochet up to that first stitch marker that we placed. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then what we're going to do is single crochet into the second stitch marker that we placed, so over on this side. So we're going to go like this. Like that, and then we're going to do 4 more single crochets. So now at the end of round 1, what you should find is that you have a 10 single crochet circle. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and you might want to start marking the first single crochet of each round. Now it's completely up to you. And so for rounds 2 to 7, we're just going to single crochet all the way around. So I'll meet you at the end of round 7. So I got to the end of round 7, and actually at this point we need to change to the cream yarn colour. So I cut my yarn because I'm actually going to use the fake single crochet method to do the colour change. You can just do this in the standard way if you want, but I find that this makes it a bit less obvious where the colour change occurred. So I've got my yarn tail here, and I'm just going to look at my work from this perspective now, and I'm just going to skip this first single crochet from round 7, and I'm going to go into the second one here like so, and then I'm just going to pull this yarn tail through, and then I'm going to go back into this final single crochet from round 7, and I'm going to go into what's the front loop from this perspective, and then I'm just going to pull this tail back through like that. And then I'm just going to kind of hide that tail in the leg. And now, as you can see, it's less obvious where the round ended there, and it should be less obvious when we do our colour change. So now all we need to do is grab our cream yarn and reattach that. You can really reattach it into any stitch here. I'm just going to pick one that's near to where we did that fake single crochet. I'm just going to go like this. And then we're just going to single crochet all the way, let's try that again. We're just going to single crochet all the way around for round 8. So 1, 2, 3, and you might want to try and single crochet over that tail as well to kind of secure it in place. So this is 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then we're gonna do another round of single crocheting all the way around, so that'll be round 9, just single crochet all the way around, and I'll meet you when you finish that. So I'm at the end of round 9, and I'm just going to add some stuffing to the leg. You can just do this afterwards, because obviously we've still got this open part here at the top, but I just find it easier to kind of control how much is going in if I do it at this stage. So I'm just going to just put a little bit more. And then, yeah, if I want to add a bit more at the end, then I can just do that. So that's fine for now. So now for round 10, we're just going to decrease all the way around, but in the back loops only. So that'll be 5 decreases. Sorry, I'm just trying to push that stuffing in there. Okay, so let's do round 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So that is the final round for this leg. So I'm just going to cut the yarn, leaving a slight tail, like maybe that amount. And then I'm going to grab my yarn needle, and we're just going to close up this hole here. So I'm just going to weave my needle through these 5 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then I'm going to pull tight. I'm just going to kind of flatten this like this, and then I'm just going to put my yarn needle through and out through a nearby cream stitch like this, and then we can just cut that tail. And there we have it. So we have finished the first leg here. So for the second leg, you're going to go to that final stitch marker that you placed, and you're going to count back 5 single crochets, including the marked stitch. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you're just going to reattach your blue yarn into this stitch. So for round 1, you're just going to do 5 single crochets up to the final stitch mark that you placed. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you're going to single crochet into the 3rd stitch marker that you placed. So this one here. Oh, sorry, into the stitch, obviously that's marked by the stitch marker, not into the stitch marker itself. So there, and then you're just going to do 4 more single crochets. 1, 2, 3, and 4, And as with the other leg, this should at this point create a 10 single crochet circle, so we're just going to keep crocheting around like this. So basically for rounds 2 to 10 you just want to repeat exactly the same thing as we did for this leg here. So just as a reminder of what that is, for rounds 2 to 7 you're just going to single crochet all the way around, then you're going to change to cream, either using the fake single crochet method or just the standard method if that's a bit more easy for you to do. And then for rounds 8 to 9 you're going to single crochet all the way around in the cream colour. You're going to stuff the leg, and then for round 10 you're going to decrease all the way around but in the back loops only, and then you're just going to cut your yarn, close up the hole, and then weave in the end and snip the tail. So I'll meet you once you've finished the second leg here. I've finished my 2 legs now, and all I'm going to do is just sew up this 3 single crochet gap closed now. So I've just got a sort of medium length of the blue yarn here, and I'm just going to attach that into these stitches here. I'm just going to leave a bit of a tail so that we can weave that in when we're finished, and I'm just going to decide to whip stitch across. You could do this in any other way that you like, but I just like the way that this looks the best, so I'm just going to keep going. So there, now that gap should be closed, and all I'm going to do is just weave this tail through the leg here and do the same with this tail. Then I'm just going to cut those tails, and then the next thing we need to do is to stuff the body. So I'm just going to stuff the body now. So I've got my stuffing, and I'm just going to add that. I would say you want to stuff firmly, but don't overdo it. So. Just a little bit more, I think. There we go, so I think I'm happy with that. So now the body is fully stuffed and we're ready to move on to crocheting the head. So grab your blue yarn again and we'll start that.